Hello everyone, in this video, yes, we'll be talking about metals and the physical properties of metals, as well as we'll be talking about the physical properties of non-metals. So in a combination, we are starting a new chapter, metals and non-metals, wherein in this video, we'll be talking about the physical property. Okay, so yes, many physical properties you have already learnt about, but we'll have a quick review in this video and some extra information about each property. Okay, so the first property that we are going to talk about is that the metals are shiny in nature. Their surface is shiny. Okay, so that means they are luster. This property is called as the property of luster, right? Metals have shining surfaces. This property is called as luster, right? As you can see here, this is a crystal, okay, of gallium, which is shiny, okay, and this is a silver, which is shiny in nature. The surface is very shiny. The next important property of metals is that it can be easily drawn into thin wires, and this property is called as ductile. As you can see here, they are the thin wires of copper, gold, silver, and similarly these are different thin wires which are joined to form wires of different thickness, like you can see the thinnest and to the thickest, right? Inside the thickest also you can see different thin wires being intertwined together to give this thick wire. Similarly, the different cable wires that you can see here, right, which is also made of metals. So metals can be drawn into thin wires of various different thickness, and this property is called as ductile. The next important property is that, one of the important metals is gold, which is the most ductile metal. It can be bent into any various shapes and twisted and turned to form any different complicated structures, which you can see in different various shapes and sizes and structures of ornaments around you. Women wear different various types of structures, like you can see here the intertwined wires of gold forming this earring or a bangle. Okay, so the next property is metals are hard. They are so hard that you cannot cut them, except for sodium and potassium. Yes, lithium can also be cut with a knife, but it's a little bit difficult to cut lithium as compared to sodium and potassium. They can be very easily cut with a knife. Let's have a look. And when you cut with a knife, the surface that is seen, it shines, and that is shows the luster property. Then what is happening with the outside surface? The outside surface of the metal gets in contact with the oxygen of the air and gets rusted or corroded, which you have already learned in the first chapter. Okay, so let's have a quick view into a section of the experiment where they cut the surface of the cut a piece of sodium, potassium and lithium with a knife. Let's have a look. As you can see here, the first piece is a lithium, which they are struggling a little bit to cut it off. It's a black solid crystal. The next is the sodium. You can see it's more whitish, and you can see the shiny part. It's more shiny than the other surface. The cut part, it's more like reflecting more light. So that is the luster property of sodium, right? Now the next one that they are cutting is potassium. Potassium is also very easy to cut with the knife, but it is more shinier, having more luster property compared to the sodium. Can you see here? Right? So this is the property of sodium and potassium. So we just saw how it was easy to cut sodium, potassium and lithium with the knife, but not other metals. Copper, aluminium, zinc, they are not so easy to cut. They are very hard, and many different ornaments, utensils are made using these metals. Okay, so the next property that we are looking into is that the metals can be beaten into thin sheets, and that property is called malleability. The thinnest sheet that can be made is the aluminium into an aluminium foil. Okay, but the most malleable metals are gold and silver compared to all the other metals. And you have seen these gold foils and silver foils about the sweets that are available, the thin layer of silver or gold foil put upon the sweets. Okay, so yes, all the metals can be beaten into sheets, but the thinnest is gold and silver. So that property is called as malleable metals. The next property that we're going to look about is the good conductor of heat. They easily transfer heat from one end to the other end of the metal. Okay, a small experiment which we are going to look into is that take two thermocol cups. In one cup you pour cold water and in the other cup you pour hot water. Before you pour water into the cups, you connect two, take a thin wire, okay, of very tiny, of very less thick wire, I mean a very thin wire, not thick one, okay, and you just take 3 to 4 turns of those wires, bend it into a U shape. Can you see here a U shape bent? Here they have bent the U shape thin wires and they have stuck it with the tape. Okay, now it's not just this tiny bit of the wire, it has to be longer enough so that it gets dipped into the water on either side of the cup. Okay, then you pour hot water in one of the cup and the cold water in the other cup. So automatically the thin wire which is immersed in the hot wire, which gets heated up, that means it's going to absorb the heatness. This heat will be gradually passing through the thin wire and enter the cold water. So after few minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, you will start feeling that the coldness of the water in the second cup will start reducing, and at the same time the hotness is also reducing, but still this is cooling off. The hot water is cooling off, that is a second different property, but the cold water getting warmer is because the heat is transferred through the metal wire into the second cup with cold water. So this is how the thermal conduction or heat is conducted by the metal. There's one more experiment that can be done is you take a rod, metal rod, and place and stick it or get it firmly tied to a stand, and keep a lighted candle on one end of the rod. Gradually at the other end of the rod you will feel the heatness. The best example of explaining this will be, have you seen your mother cooking? Okay, if she leaves the ladle or the spoon in the vessel while cooking any item she's cooking, like a vegetable or a milk, if she's heating the milk, and if the spoon is inside the utensil, you will not be able to hold the utensil because it's very hot. That means the heat is transferred from the milk to the spoon. Okay, so heat is very easily conducted through metal. These are the 3 examples or experiments that can be shown to explain thermal conduction. The best conductor of heat is silver and copper. Okay, and the poor conductor of heat is lead and mercury. Lead is one of the only metals which are liquid. Mercury is the only metal which is in liquid form, whereas all the other metals are hard, solid in room temperature. Okay. Next is the metals are very good conductors of electricity. And we know, because we have already learned about electricity, what is the concept of electricity? Transfer of electrons from one end to the other end. And metals are good conductor of electricity because they easily allow the conduction of current. Okay. Next we are going to talk about is metals on striking. When you strike a metal surface, it always produces sound, and that property is called as sonorous. Okay, sonorous. So we saw the different properties of metals like sonorous, ductile, malleable. It can be easily cut into, it is hard, but only few metals which can be easily cut is sodium, potassium, and lithium. Mercury is the only metal which is liquid in normal room temperature. It conducts heat and it conducts electricity. Right? Let's talk about non-metals, the physical property of non-metal. Yes, non-metals are not ductile, they are not malleable, they are non-sonorous, they are lustrous. But there are special cases wherein few metals do show up of special property. So let's look into that. One of the major is carbon, and many non-metals are solid. Hard solid and soft solid. Okay, whereas those which are in powder forms are white phosphorus, red phosphorus. We do have a black phosphorus also. So phosphorus is a solid, but it's a more of powder form, whereas carbon is like a hard solid, like graphite and diamond, which we'll be talking about in a later stage, okay, in the same video. Whereas chlorine is a gaseous. So non-metals are either solids or gases. Okay, but the only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature is bromine. So bromine is liquid at room temperature. It's the only non-metal which is liquid in room temperature. Next is non-metals have very lower melting point. One of the best examples to explain this is when you take gallium in your hand and place it under your hand, it will start melting. These two metals, only gallium and caesium. Let's have a quick look into an experiment where we can see the gallium melt in the hand. When it is transferred to a plate, it gets hardened off. So let's have a look. As you can see here, they have taken gallium in a container from the test tube, and they are going to pour it into the hand. Okay, it's solid. Once he starts putting it into the palm of your hand, it's turning liquid. It's not that instantly it will change into a liquid. Okay, it is a little bit melted from outside, but still it's in liquid form. Till it is in the palms, it is in liquid form. You can see that, right? And it's more looks like a mercury, but it's not mercury, it's gallium. Okay, once it has been poured on a plate, it's like a jelly blob-like thing which keeps melting, right? Once it is transferred into the plate, you can see it changes into a solid within few seconds and crystals are formed. So non-metals do have lower melting point, but the very lowest melting point of the two metals are gallium and caesium, which can easily melt on your palm. The next is non-metal are non-lustrous. But iodine is the only metal which is lustrous and it has shiny surface like metals, as you can see in this one. The next one is the only non-metal which can be in different forms. Okay, and why different forms means it can be hard like a rock, like a diamond, and hard like a soft like a graphite. Both are solids, but both solids are different. So these different forms of carbon are called as allotropes. So diamond, what are the properties of diamond? First of all, diamond is the hardest natural substance. Okay, and then it has a very high melting point and boiling point. Both are very high. Whereas at the same time, graphite is not so hard. It's softer carbon metal. It has a lower melting point compared to diamond and lower boiling point compared to diamond. And graphite is a very good conductor of electricity. Where can you find graphite? You can find graphite in the pencil lead. All your pencil lead are made up of graphite, which can easily break off, as you have come across while writing with a pencil. So the properties of non-metals are they are non-lustrous, have low melting point, they are non-ductile, non-malleable, right? They are mostly gaseous in solid state, but the exceptions were bromine is liquid in state, iodine is lustrous, gallium and caesium have very low melting point that they can easily be in a molten state in your palm. Okay, the moment it is transferred to any other dish or a petri dish, it starts solidifying. Okay, next is the allotropes of carbon are solid, which are hardest material in the surface of the earth, like diamond. Okay, we cannot cut them, we cannot make wires out of carbon, out of non-metals. Non-metals are bad conductor of electricity, and non-metals are, or we can say they are not so good enough as a while conduction of heat or electricity. So these are the properties of metals and non-metals that we have looked into. Hope you have understood. Thank you.